Welcome back, YouTube. Another beautiful day in good old Kentucky. We're getting freer every day. We'll have to quit calling it the Communist Republic of Kentucky because we're getting so free here. Good news, good news. Looks like crypto's returning. The stock market's going up. Michael Burry, though, everybody's putting out these videos on YouTube talking about Michael Burry saying a huge stock crash is coming. And there may be one. I do not know. I know it's all manipulated and they can kind of do whatever they want to with it. But I have a tendency to think it's going to be passing the little Amish town here. But I have a tendency it's going to do like George Gammon said with like Venezuela. Venezuela's stock market started surging in like 86. And yeah, they had some pullbacks, and you can look that up. But for 33 years, that stock market just went boom, 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 straight up. And yeah, it had some pullbacks. But then, I can't remember exactly when it was, like 2016 or something other, it went like hyperbolic, like 5,000, over 5,000% returns. Excuse me. That's insane. Excuse me. George Gammon thinks that's what's going to happen with our stock market. I don't know. I don't know if it will or not. I don't know if Michael Burry's right or not. You see, they were in a bubble too. Venezuela's or Caracas stock market was in a bubble as well. But with inflation, it wasn't going down because as your currency depreciates, all assets go up. So if you have an asset, it's going to gain value because it's going to take more dollars or more currency to pay for that asset. So when we come to hyperinflation, Warren Buffett said they're seeing substantial inflation. So substantial inflation is in pace. What will the Fed do? Will the Fed raise interest rates? And if they do, that'll crash the stock market. I don't know why, but it seems to work like that. Every time they even hint at raising the interest rates any, the stock market plummets. Has a severe pullback, just boom, boom, boom. So I don't know how that correlates to the interest rates per se, but it always seems to go hand in hand. Rate increase, price drops. If someone understands that a little bit better, you could leave a comment in the section below and help explain that to all of us, why that's so. Also, please give us a thumbs up. We really got to get their message out there, build our community. I appreciate those of you that are giving us a thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you a lot. It means a lot to me. We're getting a lot more listens on the podcast. A lot more listeners are tuning in on the podcast. That's a great thing. Very thankful for that. It's nice to have. Nice to have people that come in and listen to the podcast. Maybe it'll help somebody out. So we've been discussing Robert Allen, multiple streams of income, and that's how my grandfather, and my fathers also have built their lives, built their financial security around multiple streams of income. we want to switch gears a little bit and get back to my great-grandpa, when it comes to real estate. We want to talk about Robert Kiyosaki a little bit. Robert Kiyosaki, he supposedly has 1,000 houses or something other. I don't know, some kind of ridiculous number. I don't really know exactly how many. Just, he's always throwing a big, huge number out there. Golf courses and everything else. But here's the thing. Real estate back in the day was a huge success. I don't know about now. One of my sons, one of the twins, he's been looking at the real estate market for about a year now. He has about another year of high school left, and that's what he wants, multifamily homes. That's what he's working towards. He's worked up, already made a manager at one of the local restaurants. He's making pretty good money. He is been saving it. He just keeps out enough just to pay his cell phone bill and his gas, and maybe take his girlfriend out to eat. And he's stockpiling the rest of his money in cash. And you may be saying, well, why are you letting your kids stockpile this money in cash when it's depreciating? Well, because he needs a down payment. He needs something secure so he can pull it out as a down payment. If he puts in the stock market and the stock market was to crash, he'd lose half of it right there. And he wouldn't be able to pull that money out for a while until he was able to, recover those losses, to put a down payment on something. So that's one of the things we discussed on the podcast. One of the first things you got to do is learn to save your money, learn to budget, and stockpile that money. If you know what you're going for, stockpile that money. And yeah, my kid does have some stocks. He does have monthly paying dividend stocks. He doesn't have any crypto right now, but he does have some stocks. But they are income stocks. They're not going to be, there's stuff that's going to compound and produce income for him over the long term. It's nothing that he wants to touch right now to pull out for a down payment. So he's working. He bought a car with cash for $2,000. Both my sons did, and both the twins. They bought this $2,000 budget that they saved for themselves and bought themselves a car. You may be saying, "Now, why would you do that? Why would you make them do that?" Because most parents go out and buy their kids brand new cars, or their parents go out and buy a car for their kid, or their parents pass down a used vehicle for their kids. Maybe say, "No, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you help your kids out?" Well, in my mind, this is helping them out. This is teaching them responsibility. It's their car. They'll be more apt to take care of it because they had to work their butts off to get it. They'll be more apt to keep the oil changed, upkeep on it, be less likely to get out and total it because they've had to work their butts off to buy it themselves. And it's also taught them, if you want something, you've got to work for it. There's a whole lot of lessons there to be learned. And I wasn't trying to jip my children on the experience of accomplishing a goal. And it is accomplishing a goal when you're able to save up $2,000 as a teenager and buy yourself a vehicle. But back to the cash flows in real estate. my great grandpa and my grandpa, when they would get money coming in from, the farm or from other things. With my grandpa, it'd been other things like the restaurant, car lots, and stuff like that. And with my great grandpa, the farm, they would take that money and they'd make a down payment on a house, and they'd use that house, the money that came in from the rent on that house, to pay for itself. A lot of times they'd pretty much pay for a property when they sold their spring calves or or fall calves, or we were farming close to 1,000 acres of corn and soybeans and wheat, and we were running a lot of cattle, and at one time it was over 300 head of pigs, of breed pigs. That pig will produce anywhere from 5 to 15 piglets, if you can get them all through, get them all saved, and the sow doesn't eat them all. So you had all this income coming in, and what he was doing, he was rolling it over into real estate, and by doing that, he was building his net worth, and he was building his cash flows, because my grandpa knew he couldn't depend off the government, for Social Security or something like that. He knew he had to find other ways to support himself, because you can't just depend on the government or the pension or whatever your job's offering, your 401k. 401k is taxed at your income level when you go to pull it out. You lose a big chunk of it right off the bat. When I first time I retired, when I was 27, around in that area, I think they charged me 24% on my 401k when I cashed it out. And then the same thing happened. I lost about 20% on my pension when the company shut down. They wanted to pay us our pensions outright instead of letting us collect them when we were older. They wanted to just go ahead and pay us out. And I went ahead and took the payout. I think they took 20% of it. So I lost 24% on my 401k and 20% on my pension. But that's just that's just an example. Biden's want to tax it up to 40-something%. He's want to take all these people's money and just steal it from them, basically. You put your money in your 401k, we're going to come in and take 40-something% of it. Just like they're doing with the housing market in some areas. Look what's going on with California right now. They are crushing landlords. Eviction moratorium. Now the government of California is saying that they're going to come in and pay. They're going to come in and pay renters rent, because the renters haven't been paying their rent in over a year. So they're going to come in and they're going to do that. How's that going to work? A whole lot of crazy things going on in the world. If they come in and do that, it basically means that the government's going to step in eventually and start buying up properties. And there was something tied in with that. I can't remember exactly what it was. If someone remembers, please comment below. But whatever this stuff is going on with Newsom, he is really, really upsetting the market. Then you got, if you buy real estate and you have all these rental properties, then you have all these others coming in and saying, well, I lost my point. Anyway, if you buy it, you have death taxes to pay on. So how's your family going to pay for your property after you're gone? Are you going to keep money on, stashed back? Say you have $1 million worth of real estate, rentals sitting there, which wouldn't be very many in today's market. Do you have $800,000 sitting there to pay for that upon your death? Because they're not only going to tax it at 40-something percent, 47.7 or something like that percent, they're also going to get you for the appreciation of the property. Basically, with this communist takeover, what we have is they're just going to take everything away from us. They're going to tax us into oblivion. It's it's sad. It's very sad. That's basically what's happening. It's going to tax us into complete oblivion. So is rental, like Robert Kiyosaki says, you want to buy all this real estate, use debt to buy it all? What happens then? If you owe more than what it's worth, if you keep all your equity pulled out of your houses, will that save you? Or will it? Who's going to acquire that debt if the government does step in and take that property away from you? That's a good question. I don't have the answer for that. If someone does, I hope they would supply it below. That's why I focus mainly on dividend stocks. Once again, this is financial advice. This is just education and entertainment purposes only. But if I leave those stocks there, say in the holding company, are my kids going to have to pay for that if they inherit the shares, or when they inherit the shares? Because they'll inherit the shares of the company, because the holding company will hold all the shares. Also, the holding company will hold all the royalties to the books, the shows, and everything else that we're doing on the YouTube channel. Anything that if the YouTube channel was to ever make any money, all that goes back to the holding company, not to me personally. So, what happens there? What happens to all that income? Meeting someone up ahead. It's very... I'll get over right here. There was some loggers back in here. I don't know where they're at now. Maybe we won't run into a big log truck coming flying down the road. It's a beautiful country back in here. It's fogging up. But here's a church. Dry Hollow Church. Holy cow, they're tearing down the old church. Looky there. This whole church here is a landmark. Look at the termites on it. Part of the feud that was fought back here. Some of them come in and rode into this church house on a horse, dressed as a woman, and shot one of the other guys. It was you used to be able to drive this road with a car, but it don't look like you can now. But anyway, it was during the Davis feud. It was all feuding over a store, because everybody wanted to control the rights of the store, because whoever controlled the store controlled the sugar. Back in those days, there was a limit on sugar, limit on all that stuff, because the food rationings during the war. So you couldn't not just anybody could get any extra sugar. But if you controlled the rights to the store, you got all those sugar coupons, and you could kind of control the sugar supply. And what they need the sugar for, they needed that to make moonshine. Because they took that sugar and they took their corn and they made moonshine with it. So everybody was fighting for that store. And there was some property rights and other things going on too. It's a lot of different stuff. But anyway, rumor has one of the Davis boys dressed up as a lady and rode right into the church on horseback and shot, I can't remember if it's an Upchurch or a Coger. Bad thing is, it was all family. It was all family. So if you're looking at hard times coming and you think you could trust everybody in your family, let me tell you something, you cannot trust everybody in your family. Because when it comes to their little kids being hungry and your little kids getting fed, don't think for a minute that they won't put a bullet in you and feed their kids. Survival of the fittest. That's why I want to see everybody prosper. Because I don't want to be fearing my neighbor or the members of my own family if things do get bad. And they can, and they probably will. Doug Casey says they will. Burbick says they will. A lot of others say they will. We don't know. But thing is, will real estate be a good investment in the future? My son's still pushing for it. He's still pushing to start buying his multifamily properties. And maybe he'll do good at it. I don't know. I hope so. But all this, you shall own nothing and be happy. They don't even want us owning a blender if you listen to them. They want us to rent a blender from them. Totally insane. I think they're going to try to cram us all in little cubicles, little 800 square foot apartments, some kind of sky rise, keep us all stacked on top of one another in little areas and not let us have anything. And we won't be able to have anything because we won't have no room for it in our houses. which I'm kind of a minimalist anyway. I don't subscribe to having everything because it wastes money. It takes away money from investing. And the more you have, the more it owns you, the more you have to work for it. So if you're having to work all the time to pay for something, what kind of freedom do you have? Do you own it, or does it own you? A lot of people, that's one of the things that my dad told me about owning a business. Is sometimes, you think you own the business, but the business really owns you. And I can see that. I can see that in a lot of ways. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please comment below if you want to reach out to us, get on our podcast. You can reach us at Your Wealth Plan Podcast on Breaker, Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. I'm sorry, misspoke there. And you can reach us there. Thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Pull down here in this spring. Beautiful, beautiful country down in here. Y'all have a great day.